Hey there, Sheryl here. Thanks so much for joining me live. I'm sorry we're a little late. We're supposed to go on at 8 a.m. Pacific time, and it's now a little bit after having a few technical difficulties, but that's part of the joy of going live. We kind of roll with it. So first, Happy New Year. I hope that you had a really nice and relaxing couple weeks, and allow me to either introduce myself or reintroduce myself. My name is Sheryl Kline. I'm a mental toughness coach, published author, speaker, and mother of a couple of great kids who are now high school and college Division I student athletes. And today we're going to talk about one tip to have world-class clarity. And again, thanks so much for joining live. If you are watching the recording, that is amazing too. I know it's difficult sometimes to get on live, but thanks so much for watching. The reason why we're going to talk about clarity is there's a lot of amazing information out there on, and I'm sure you're getting bombarded with it, on 2018, how to make it amazing, how to accomplish your goals, and there's just a lot of amazing content out there, but it's not going to be very sticky or helpful to you if you don't have clarity on what you want. And in my limited experience, or my growing experience, is that sometimes people lack clarity, and I have to tell you, and it's proven in research and I see it over and over, that lack of clarity is just like really the death of productivity and progress. So this is where it all starts, is clarity. Now, I'm not necessarily just talking about clarity surrounding your business goals. There's a lot of different buckets, and a lot of the work that I do, it's very holistic, meaning that we're going to talk about clarity surrounding your relationships and your family, surrounding your work, surrounding your fitness, surrounding everything. So what I want you to do for this particular live session is to focus on one area that you would like to have world-class clarity. So it might be with your family and your relationships. Maybe it's with your kids. Maybe it's with your fitness. What exactly do you want? It might be with your job or with your business. So for now, pick one area. And again, thanks so much for joining live, because this is really exciting. Again, you're going to see so much amazing content out there on how to make 2018 as incredible as possible. But it starts with clarity, because if you don't know where you want to go, it's going to be very difficult to make clear, measurable, and consistent progress. And this is how world-class performers, Olympians, world-class business people, this is how they do it. They have remarkable clarity on where they want to go. And you know what? There's a misconception that this is reserved for the elite few, but it's not. You can learn how to do this too, because you know what? When you have clarity, then you can have a plan, then you believe that it can happen, and then you start to make clear, measurable progress, and you start to emerge as the vision of your best self. And you know what that means? That means you're going to be more happy. That's really the end game here. It's not necessarily about making lots of money or having a six-pack in your abs or, all those things. Those are the results of you having world-class clarity, making clear and measurable progress, and being the best version of yourself. The end game is you being happy. And I want you to think for a minute what impact that has on others, not just yourself. All right, so again, thanks for joining live. We're going to hop to it. Again, my name is Sheryl Kline. To introduce or reintroduce myself, I'm a mental toughness coach, published author, speaker, and mother of a couple of great kids who are now, of course, high school and college Division I athletes. And so here's the thing. When I work with people one-on-one in a small group, or people that are on my course, which is called Mental Toughness Academy, if you want to know more about that, I will be posting it right here. But they learn these very things. So I'm going to be coming to you live a couple days a week talking about them, and it's going to give you an opportunity to ask me questions Of course, you can ask questions live, but if you're watching the recording, go ahead and post questions in there because I will see them and I will get back to you. So here's the thing. Today we are talking about how to gain world-class clarity. And that is directly tied with feeling purposeful. And that's one thing that's on a lot of people's minds right now. So if it's on yours, if you want to have 2018, you want to be clear on what's important to you, what makes you feel highly purposeful, and making progress towards something that can help you be world-class in something that's important to you, you are in the right place. We are talking about clarity today. So what is the first step? I'm going to give you a couple, my background, as you may or may not know, is applied sports psychology. So the word applied is very important. I'm going to give you interesting content, but it's applied. I want you to be able to use it. So I don't just want it to be interesting. I want you to be able to use it. So here are, I said I was going to give you one tip, but I'm actually going to give you two. So the first thing, or the first way that you can gain world-class clarity is to believe that it's possible. So let's say that you have clarity surrounding what you want. I want you to think about how you can take that clarity to the next level. Let me give you an example. My clarity is, I want to help 10,000 people to be mentally tough by the end of 2018. Well, that's great. I have clarity surrounding that, but it really needs to be refined. And so that, for me, being refined, it means I want to have 10,000 people either engage with me online, a combination of that on my newsletter, which I'll also drop the link in if you want to get free content weekly. And I also want to have them on my course that I just finished in about 2 weeks ago. So it had to be very refined. So that clarity for me to help 10,000 people to be mentally tough so they can dream, plan, and achieve their best. So that's a certain level of clarity, but I had to take it a step further, take it to the next level, so I knew how I was going to do it. So even if you do have some clarity, I want to challenge you to think about how you can take it to the next level. Let's say that you're thinking, I just don't feel clear really on anything. Or you're starting from kind of feeling like you're starting from scratch. That is totally okay too, because we have all been there. This is what I want to challenge you to do, and this is the first step. You have to believe it's possible. So whether you have a high level of clarity, like I feel like I'm pretty clear, let's say on my business goals and my business clarity, but the first step is the same for me too. I have to believe that it's possible. I have to believe that I can help 10,000 people to be mentally tough so they can dream, plan, and achieve their best. I have to believe it. And again, thanks for joining live. If you're joining live, if you're watching the recording, totally cool too. Be sure to either way to drop in questions. But here's the first thing. You need to believe that it's possible. And I'm going to, once this is done, drop in a link that is a positive affirmations app. It's called Think Up. I've worked with a developer, and if you listen to this every night, specifically before you go to bed, you're going to record a couple positive affirmations of yourself and listen to them. They get combined with music, and there's a free and paid version. So that's the first thing that you can do, is believe that you can have world-class clarity. That is the first step. And you can do this by listening to this positive affirmations app called Think Up. Now, if you don't want to hop on the app, that's totally fine. What you can do is think of a couple positive affirmations on your own. Say them to yourself before you go to bed is the best time, because that way it gets into your subconscious, but you want to say them out loud. So you might be thinking, well, what are positive affirmations? Well, let me give you a general guideline first. Positive affirmations are either things that you know are possible or things that you are very important to you. So in other words, when it comes back to, just to use myself as an example, I say to myself, I help 10,000 people to be mentally tough in 2018. So that's a positive affirmation, and then it hasn't happened yet, but it's important to me. And if I say it, you have to remember that things that you repeat to yourself over and over and over again, you tend to believe, and it takes your vision from narrow to broad. So for example, saying, I want to help 10,000 people to be mentally tough in 2018, that means that my vision is going to be very broad as to the opportunities that are going to help me do that. For example, I've been applying and reaching out and being very persistent on getting on podcasts. Well, if I didn't believe that I could help all these people, I wouldn't do it, because to be totally transparent with you, I have been rejected a couple times. Let me tell you, I was just on the One Thing podcast. I'm taking a sidebar here. I got rejected 5 times. They didn't know, they weren't quite sure who I was. I wasn't, they usually have famous people. I guess I wasn't famous enough. But on the 5th time, and I kept telling them, hey, I've spoken at Google Ventures, and I've spoken at Bacon America and VMware and all these companies in Silicon Valley, and this is what the outcome was. And so I was so persistent, they eventually let me on. And it was great. It was very impactful. And I'll also share that link with you if you haven't had a chance to see it. But, because I believe that's possible, and I've repeated these positive affirmations to myself over and over, I was persistent. So when I got that first rejection, or the second one, or the third one, or the 4th one, I'm like, no, I'm helping 10,000 people to be mentally tough so they can dream, plan, and achieve their best. I need to help them understand that. So if I didn't believe it, I would have gotten the first rejection, and I would have thought, oh, I'm not famous enough, I'm not smart enough, what I have isn't important enough. So this is what I mean, is that the first step to having world-class clarity is that you must believe that it's possible. So it could be a business goal, but maybe there's someone in your life that you want to repair a relationship with. And maybe you want world-class clarity around the type of relationship that you want. And so you need to first believe that it's possible. And you may have to be an actor and actress in the beginning, because you might not 100% believe it, but you have to say positive affirmations over and over and over. Say them at night 5 to 10 times, and in the morning 5 to 10 times. You have 2 choices, either to look in the mirror and say them out loud, or go ahead and get the app Think Up, which I will post, because you can actually change the chemistry of your brain. If you say it over and over and over, you'll start to believe it. Once you believe it, then you'll start to do it and make clear and measurable progress. So the first tip to gaining world-class clarity is to believe it's possible, and by saying these positive affirmations to yourself. And again, once I'm done, I'll go ahead and post the tools for that. Now, the second thing that I want to do, to challenge you to do, is let me roll back a little. In order for you to get what you want, it's very important that you spend time with people that either have what you want or have a higher level of what you want. So if you want to gain a greater amount of clarity, I want to challenge you to think of one person this week that you can reach out to and have contact with. Either have coffee with them, meet with them. If they don't live near you, meet with them over Zoom or Skype, or talk to them, or have some type of interaction with someone that has world-class clarity on one aspect of their life of what they want. So can you do that? That is my challenge for you. So I want you to get on Think Up, or say these positive affirmations yourself. And again, I will post those tools for you. And by this time next week, I want you to have a conversation, either in person or online or on the phone. Ideally in person, but if that's not possible, on the phone or online, with someone who has a greater sense of clarity than you in an area that you want. So in other words, I have a mentor. I'm actually in a mastermind group, and the person that runs the group is very crystal clear on what he wants and how he's going to go after it. So I am going to reach out to him this week and see if I can have at least a few-minute private conversation with him. And so I really challenge you to do the same. So positive affirmations at a minimum 5 to 10 times every night before you go to bed. and reach out to someone, have a conversation, ideally in person, with someone that has a greater sense of clarity than you do, and ask them some important questions like, how did you come upon this? How did you make progress towards this? Why are you passionate? That type of thing. So 2 things that you can do to gain world-class clarity, and we're going to continue a conversation on this. Again, again, thanks so much for joining live or watching the recording. I super appreciate you taking the time. This is incredible. We're going to continue the conversation for a little bit on clarity in the coming days and maybe even the coming weeks, because this is really laying the foundation for you having an amazing 2018. This is where it starts, is with clarity. So what I want to know from you is, regarding getting things done, if you reflect back on 2018, what's one of the biggest struggles that you had in 2018? In other words, something that might have been important to you, but it just didn't happen. That you're like, I wish I could have done this. This is important, but I just didn't make good progress there. Or just, what is one thing that you struggled with in 2018? I really am sincere in this. I want to know, because I'm going to craft my content to speak to this and to customize it for you. So if you can share one thing that you struggled with in 2018, then I would super appreciate it. Just post it in the comments below. And again, please do sign up. I'm going to post, once I'm done, something called the Purpose Builder, and it's something that I shared on the One Thing podcast when that aired on December 21st, and it's how to gain world-class purpose, which is directly tied into clarity. So I'm going to post that for you for free, so if you think that that would be helpful, go ahead and download that and share it with people if you think that it would help them as well. Again, if you're feeling clear and highly purposeful, amazing, go ahead and download it anyway, because we want to take it to the next level. I'm constantly trying to get better. So even if you're feeling really amazing, you had a solid 2017 and you're really putting your head down and going after it for 2018, think about how you can take this to the next level. Go ahead and download the Purpose Builder. And if you feel like you're starting from ground zero, I think that this will really help. Thanks so much for joining me live. I'll be coming on live on Wednesday and Friday morning as well. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Hopefully it'll be right at 8 a.m. If I change the time, I will be sure to let you know. Here's to you being amazing. I look forward to seeing you soon.